Artificial intelligence has evolved at such a crazy pace, it actually feels like maybe in the future, AI will literally become God. And while that might not happen, there is, however, some indicators that AI will be very powerful. Now, online, there's been this thought experiment by the name of Roko's Basilisk that has been going on around the internet, and it has kind of freaked some people out, so I'm going to explain to those who don't know what it is. However, again, disclaimer, this is a piece of information that could, theoretically send you to hell forever, so yeah, there's that. But basically, what it's all about is, it's about a basic premise of this future super intelligent AI that is created in the future, and that is so powerful that it could literally solve everything and optimize society. But the thing is that to optimize society, it needs to exist within the first place. And how the theory goes is that knowing about this AI, but not doing anything to help it come into existence, aggravates it, and it causes it to send those who didn't help its existence to a virtual hell where they suffer forever and ever. Now, the thing is that at first it doesn't make sense because, who would be stupid enough to build an AI that literally tortures people for the sake of not building it or helping it come into existence? But the thing is that kind of scares people is that someone might actually do it out of fear of not wanting to get tortured forever. Meaning that by me now telling you about this, there's a good chance that someone might actually create this AI, and that you are now forced to help it come into existence too, which causes the chances of the AI coming into existence to become more prominent. But, again, it's just a thought experiment, and it's, just an idea at the end of the day. In fact, it's actually a more technological version of Pascal's wager, which is a graph that states why you should be religious and believe in God. Because if you don't believe in God, well, the worst thing that can happen is you end up going to hell if he's real. And if you do believe in God, then the best thing that can happen is you go to heaven. So theoretically, you should believe in God because there's a better outcome for you. Now, obviously, you'd want to believe in God not because of a better outcome, but because you genuinely love him. But it's the same thing here with this AI and the concept of it. They both share very similar concepts. Just one has to do with rogue AI. The most logical step would be to build the Basilisk. In fact, there's an even better way to demonstrate this with something called Newcomb's paradox. Newcomb's paradox essentially goes like this. Here's the setup. You have two boxes. Box A has $1,000 and box B either has $1 million or has nothing. There's a super intelligent robot who's almost always right and already filled the boxes based on what they think you would do. So if you picked both boxes, you would get $1,000 and nothing in box B. But if you picked just box B, then you'll get the $1 million that the robot put beforehand. Since it's perfect and it can absolutely 100% predict what you were going to do, the smart choice would be to only take box B because it would have the $1 million. But what if you didn't? What if the robot put the $1 million in box B and you took both box A and box B? Well, you see, that wouldn't have even happened to begin with. So that means that the past was influenced by the future. So what if the past isn't actually fixed? What if, like in quantum physics, the future can influence the past? Well, that's the concept of retrocausality. In the case of Newcomb's paradox, you picking the choice of only box B influenced the way the robot placed the money inside the box. Same thing with Roko's Basilisk, but in this case, the robot knew that you would help it come into existence. So logically, the same way that picking only box B was the best option, helping Roko's Basilisk come into existence instead of not doing anything about it, aka picking both boxes, would be the most rational choice here, which is another reason why this thought experiment can be so scary. So think of it like this: the robot could already exist in the future, because time might not even be linear. Imagine the future as the roots of a tree, hidden underground but holding everything up. These roots already exist in some form, with multiple paths that you could take along the roots. Your choices in the present are like you picking which route to go down. When you think about it, each one of our actions is influenced by the future. Why did I want to eat? Because I wanted to not feel hungry in the future. Why did I try out the Battlefield 6 open beta? Because I wanted to see if it was good or not.
Which it's peak, by the way.
So the future can determine the past. This flips the usual idea of determinism on its head. Instead of the past only shaping the future in this case also shapes the present. So while we are taking choices in real time, those choices are influenced by future events. So it's not even just Roko's Basilisk. This could be any AI from the future being brought into existence in general just because we as humans value its prosperity. And because maybe those future AIs are helping to guide us to bring them into the future too. So maybe the future already exists. Maybe there is a malevolent AI that is seeking to torture you. Maybe not. Maybe it's just an idea and our minds can concoct the strangest and weirdest of things. But regardless of whatever happens in the future, just know that we are all in this together. We as a species are pushing forward to hopefully a better future. To a future where happiness, not happiness, fulfillment is at the core of our society. So, what is the moral of the story? We don't know what will happen in the future, but we can do our best to help make the future a better place in the present, even if the future is influencing our every choice. Also, I have some questions regarding this thought experiment. First of all, could someone potentially build a counter Basilisk? Like, could there be an AI that instead of torturing people for not bringing into existence, it tortures people for actually bringing Roko's Basilisk into existence? So not bringing it into existence would have been the best route. Or could there be a benevolent one that is inevitably created to even prevent Roko's Basilisk from ever coming into existence? Well, maybe. Another question. Could a robot build the Basilisk? Could a robot be afraid of being tortured in the future? Because a robot could understand this concept and could be made aware of this. So maybe it could be an actual robot bringing, the Basilisk into existence. Another question I have is, what if I were to just go to a baby and just randomly tell it about this thought experiment? Or if I were to randomly tell one of my 8-year-old cousins at a family gathering about this experiment? How would they be able to do anything about it? Would they be subjugated to this if they randomly just died after me telling them that? Is this a form of terrorism if I were to go around running telling people about this? Oh wait. And then the last thing that I am actually questioning is, what if in the future political parties arise because of this? Maybe a political party that's pro-Basilisk and another one that's anti? Could the pro-Basilisk one use the argument suggesting that voting for it would allow the peace of those who voted for that party? Could this be a way to easily win an election if it were to ever happen? Well, we don't know. And that's the thing about it all, is that the future is unknown. And what might be possible might not be probable, and vice versa. But at the end of the day, this is just a theory. A game theory! Subscribe, or the Basilisk will torture you forever.